Clan violence is widespread in Papua New Guinea, where arguments over resources and land can easily spiral into murder and civil conflict. Tribal warfare has been for many a way of life in the highlands. In the volatile eastern highland provinces, an estimated 400 people die each year in this type of tribal violence, which is mostly sparked by land disputes. During one of these conflicts over land, a coffee plantation in Daula district, houses were regularly burned down and crops destroyed, and 6 people were killed. The impact on local communities are severe. Children can't go to school, farmers are kept from their fields, and community members from conducting civil affairs. And with the increased availability and use of firearms since 1993, the loss of life has only increased. Added to this is the fact that for many who die, it is the lack of adequate medical facilities in some of the remote districts. Police are often sent into the conflicts, but many arrive too late. There's also a more guerrilla type of warfare going on that is somewhat new to the fighting and tribal violence. Officials are committed to mediation, negotiation, compensation agreements, attempting to bring the groups to the table. When a woman is killed, for instance, the compensation is typically $770 US, and for a man around 2,000. Compensation can be higher for both if they are educated individuals or business owners. In the example of the coffee plantation owner who was killed, his family received over $19,000 plus several pigs. A committee was responsible for helping to restore the peace in Daula, and families returned home and the school reopened. The committee that helped to mediate in Daula was one of 8 district peace management teams that were set up in 2008 in the Eastern Highlands. And that year alone, there were 84 conflicts recorded in the province, but with the peace management teams monitoring and mediating, there were now only 2 to 3 conflicts at any given time going on. Patience has been the key to resolving many of the disputes. Because of customary land tenure, 93% of PNG's land is owned by clans with very few secure titles. It's easy to see when you're talking about tribal fights that most of it is coming from these land disputes. And once the violence starts, retaliation and payback can keep it going for decades. The idea of reciprocal violence, that is, of balancing the world through constant warfare and the taking of what Westerners call revenge, is widespread in PNG and is currently on the upswing. It is not just happening in the remote areas of the highlands, but also in the larger cities as well, as men find themselves poor and jobless and removed from the village and tribal norms that help to keep some of the violence contained. As the conflict over a copper mine on the island of Bougainville showed us earlier, there is also the competition from foreign interests over the resources and the land that they are situated on. Violence is a daily reality in the southern Highlands province, particularly the Hilo region, with the tribal conflicts undermining all types of development in the region, whether it's economic development, health, or education. These regions have vast natural gas deposits, according to some reports, and plans have been in place to extract the resource. However, tribal violence has delayed the implementation, and the PNG declared a state of emergency in 2006, imposing a curfew and sending in soldiers so the development could start as planned. Another liquid natural gas project was started by ExxonMobil, but also stalled when the project incited tribal warfare over the land ownership, even among groups that had previously had peaceful relations. Some of the solutions proposed to help reduce or end the violence has been education and research into the why of such increased violence, as well as improving security and tightening gun controls. One recent approach of the PNG government has been to arrest all of those in possession of firearms in the districts. Whether this approach is successful in any small way remains to be seen. However, officials feel pressure to at least try anything to help the families in these areas to be able to access basic services, attend to their food supplies, and allow education of their children. However, the idea of a resource curse comes to mind with this increase in the violence and conflicts in the highlands. Will the resource extraction benefit the inhabitants of the highlands, or end up with results similar to Bougainville that enriched a few foreign at the expense of the natives.